This is the Becoming Muslim podcast at untoislam.com, the show that helps people convert to Islam with hosts from the US, UK, and Australia.
I didn't know. I was like, nah, this is not for me. But Islam, that called me. Like every time like a doubt would come, something would answer it. I didn't know if I was going to go to heaven or hell because I still believed in that concept as well. But so I was like, I got to find that. I got to find that hope, that faith that I've seen people have that can just drive them. And I didn't have that anymore. I was kind of lost for a bit, it felt like. I watched all the brothers pray. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is my first time seeing prayer, so I have no idea what they're saying. But like, even not know what they're saying, like you could feel the energy in the room. Like you can feel it. It was amazing. I was just asking those questions, and then it all made more sense in Islam. Islam made the most sense. It felt like the truth. So they were just like, "Do you have any doubts?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, "Will your family object?" I was like, "No, I don't believe so. My family's pretty liberal with everything. They wouldn't care." And they're like, "Well, what's your problem then? What's keeping you from saying your shahada?" And I was like, "You know what? You're right. There's really nothing." So like the health benefits, like I'm so much healthier. Like my body feels great, feels detoxified. I'm much more patient now. Without the intention to actually do my shahada, but I had no doubts. So I was like, this is time, yeah. And that's basically how I ended up in this beautiful journey.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, all listeners of the Becoming Muslim podcast. Today we have Devan. Devan, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum. Good. About yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Great to have you here. So let's start by the usual beginning. I'm just going to ask you to introduce yourself. So the floor is yours.
Gotcha. My name is Devan Saunders. I live over in Wisconsin. I'm originally from Virginia, but due to family, moved out here. I'm married. I'm a father of two. Got two boys.
Mm-hmm.
My job, I don't do too much. I don't do anything really important. I work at a warehouse called UNFI. I work on a forklift. And then my main hobbies are playing games and basketball. I actually just recently joined up in a league over in our ISM Maine, it's the Islamic Society of Milwaukee. They had a summer basketball league, so that started today actually. So that was fun.
That's awesome. I'm also a basketball fan, by the way, and basketball practitioner myself. So that's something we definitely have in common.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So all right, let's start by the second beginning. Tell me about how did you get to Islam?
So most of my birth family, they weren't super religious. My mom didn't really believe in God or anything, but my best friends, both their families were very Christian. So I grew up with them, going to church with them. But as an adult now, I could say I never had a connection with the church, with God through that. So I joined the Air Force a bit and noticed I didn't really have a religion. I didn't have any, I believed in God, but I didn't follow a practice of religion. So there I tried several different religions. I practiced Buddhism for a bit. I looked at Hinduism, a few other religions, and none of them really stood out. But I noticed the only one I didn't look at was Islam. So fast forward a few years later, probably I want to say January of 2022, I started looking at Islam. And as I was studying, learning things, I felt a connection. I was being drawn to it. So I want to say come March, late February, I reached out to our community out here. And I was trying to get introduced to more Muslims because personally, I've never met a Muslim my entire life. I don't know how, but I just never have. So I was like, I need to know what it's like. So I went to Jummah prayer without the intention to actually do my shahada, but I had no doubts. So I was like, this is time. Yeah. And that's basically how I ended up in this beautiful journey.
Wow, it's pretty amazing. So, remind me, like, how old are you again?
25.
25, and mashallah, you're very young. That's great. So you mentioned like you were, I think it's in around the time you were in the Air Force. That's where you started like to look into religion.
Yes.
So what makes you want to look into it at this point?
It was aside from like my kids and like my wife, I noticed that there's no like I didn't have an end goal. It felt like there's no like light at the end of the road tunnel, if I could put it that way. Because like I believed in God, but I didn't know if I was going to go to heaven or hell because I still believed in that concept as well. But so I was like, I got to find that. I got to find that hope, that faith that I've seen people have that can just drive them. And I didn't have that anymore. I was kind of lost for a bit. It felt like.
So you were kind of like up searching for a meaning. That's
yes. That's probably the best way I can put it.
I understand. Do you remember like any precise moment when you were having like thoughts about it and said like, okay, I should look into it? Is there like an event or a moment, a discussion that really make you start the process?
There's no precise moment. It's just like I slowly felt it building and building. It's something I needed.
Okay, cool. Can you walk me through the process of looking into these different religion? How did you feel like, okay, that's probably not the one, and moving to another one until you start looking into Islam? So what was the process like, and why did you move to another? What are the elements that make you start looking somewhere else?
So I'll start with Christianity, because that's where my journey began. Because my wife, she grew up Christian. She was always in the church, so she really wanted to start going to church. So I was like, sure, I guess I'll go with you. And like as I was going to church, I didn't feel anything. Like I didn't feel. There's no faith towards it. Like I'd pray, I'd listen to the preacher, and there was nothing. There was no connection there. So I was like, I'm gonna stop going. It's just I don't feel like this is productive for me. I don't feel anything here. And then before that, actually, my bad, I practiced Buddhism, and that one was interesting because it was like Nichiren Buddhism. So like they didn't really believe in Buddha per se. They believed in like Buddhahood. So that was mostly just like a meditation type thing. So it's considered a religion, but I didn't feel like it was, because there's no God, the supreme being. Like there's no one God to keep you. Like there's no like sense of it.
Structure.
Yeah, structure. Yeah. And then I looked at Hinduism, and I don't even know where to begin. So I was like, no, no disrespect to anyone who's Hindu, but I didn't know. I was like, nah, this is not for me. But Islam, that called me. Like every time like a doubt would come, something would answer it. Like I'm in the WhatsApp group of Onto Islam, and like one of my main doubts was I had a pretty rough childhood growing up. So I was like, if God did that, then does he not love me? But Islam was the only religion I was able to answer that without just like, God gives his toughest battles to his toughest soldiers. It was more so like God wouldn't put anything in your path that you couldn't get through. He did this because he loves you, and because he knows that this certain situation, you'll get through it with him, like walking with Allah, but you'll get through it and you'll be better because of it. And
exactly.
That was the perfect answer to what, like, it just solved it. And then every doubt I had was getting solved along the way.
That makes perfect sense. It's part of so that the second surah of the Quran is Surah Al-Baqarah, and the last verse actually says pretty much like that Allah wouldn't give you like a weight that you can bear. it give you test and trial, but it also give you the capacity to deal with it. And there is a purpose. There is a reason why you go through things. There are many, and that's absolutely true. So, can you also walk me through the first step you took, just a little bit more detail? So you went into this process. You look into Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity. Then as I understood, there was some kind of gap, and then you realize, like, wait a moment, that I didn't look into Islam. So, what is the very first step you took in terms of learning about Islam?
Um, I want to say my first step was I was Googling a bunch of stuff and I couldn't find anything accurate. And then I fell into Islam group and I was able, Tanya, thank her. She was able to give me a lot of
Resources?
accurate, good resources that are like trusted and vetted. So I was able to read through that. And as I was studying, learning, I the main Islamic society out here, they have an Instagram page and a website. So I like reached out on the website. They didn't get back to me for like a few days, and I was really wanting to hurry up and meet up with them because I was excited. I was really excited. I was really happy. So I messaged them on Instagram, and Brother Anas, he called me like the very next day.
Okay.
So like I went straight up. They had someone arranged with me. I went up to one of the other masjids over in South Milwaukee, and saw prayer for the first time because I didn't want to look it up. I wanted to see it in person. So I saw the Juma prayer. And
so you just rock up like pretty much to the mosque. You didn't say, you start reading a bit, but you said like, yeah, I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want to see what it's about. So you went to the mosque directly. So you mentioned that you were not about to do your shahada. So like we didn't, which is normal. You said, I'm just going to observe things, but in your heart, it's the truth, but you just wanted to be there. So run me through that. Like, so what exactly happened at this moment? You come to the mosque, it's Jummah prayer. Like, what do you do?
So I don't participate in prayer. I sit in the back and listen to the khutbah, and I watch all the brothers pray. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, at first this is my first time seeing prayer, so I have no idea what they're saying. but like, even not know what they're saying, like you could feel the energy in the room. Like you can feel it. It was amazing. I like, actually my favorite day of the week is Friday. I love Jummah prayer. So like during that, I can't even remember what the khutbah was about, but I do believe it answered one of my doubts. And then I was talking with the imam who was doing the khutbah, and then two brothers, Brother Abdullah and Brother Bilal, and we were sitting there talking, and I was asking questions, learning more about Angel Jibril, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, more of the prophets, peace be upon all of them. And I was just asking those questions, and then it all made more sense in Islam. Islam made the most sense. It felt like the truth. So they were just like, "Do you have any doubts?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, "Well, do your family object?" I was like, "No, I don't believe so. My family's pretty liberal with everything. They wouldn't care." And they're like, "Well, what's your problem then? What's keeping you from saying your shahada?" And I was like, "You know what? You're right. There's really nothing." And then I said it, and
it's amazing.
That was the start of my journey.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much amazing. So I just want to make some clarification for the listeners, because like we have people that are listening to the podcast that sometimes don't know nothing about Islam. So I'm just trying to can translate the term. So Brother Devan talked about the khutbah. So the khutbah is pretty much the speech. You can take it as a speech. And he mentioned to the imam. The imam is kind of the leader, the one who lead the prayer, and it's also in general the leader of a mosque, the person you would go to for question and knowledge. And so he also mentioned Jummah. Jummah is the Friday prayer. So Muslim, they pray we pray 5 times a day. And 1 time a week, which is on Friday, we have some kind of communal prayer that we have to do as a group, as a community. It's on Friday. It's called Jumu'ah. And on Jumu'ah, we have the khutbah, which is the speech of the imam. And then you have like the congregational prayer. So I just wanted to make this clarification for the listeners, because sometimes they don't know the term. Okay, so how long ago was it that you reverted to Islam?
March 9th, actually. It was pretty recently. I did it right before Ramadan.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, interesting. So talk to me about your Ramadan. How did it go?
Oh, I love Ramadan. It went great. I actually fasted every single day. Like, I didn't miss a single fast. Actually, one day it sucked, but inshallah, I got through it. Because I work third shift, so I work overnight. So I kind of cheat a bit because I get to eat all night because that's when I'm up and working. So it was my off day. And usually I would stay up till Fajr and pass out. But I was really tired. So I pass out right after Isha. And I wake up and it's just after Fajr. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten since 11. And I had to go through that whole day with no food, no water. And it sucked, but I got through it, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, man. And it's great that God, Allah gave you the tawfiq to go through this. It's not an easy thing to do at the very beginning, especially when you just reverted. So it's actually a blessing that Allah like put you like through this and give you like, you know, the determination to do that. So did you feel like some different, besides the fact that should start by the beginning. So also for the listeners, so Ramadan is like a blessed month for all the Muslims. It's like 1 month every year where we fast from sunrise to sunset. So no water, so no type of liquid and no food at all. There's all the rules, but this is the main thing that Ramadan is known for. So that's what Brother Devan went through for a whole month after recently converted to Islam. So that's why I'm mentioning that it's pretty amazing. Like, it's not something easy, and especially for someone that is not used to fast. So this way. So yeah, it's pretty much amazing. Did you feel anything spiritually? Did you feel any change? Like, how did it impact you this Ramadan?
I think if anything, the reason, like, I do want to start off. I forgot to say this. I'm not like super knowledgeable, so a lot of it, if I say anything incorrect, I apologize.
It's okay.
But what I think Ramadan really did for me is it really brought me closer to Allah. And like, because during Ramadan, there was a whole lot of events in our like big masjid that we have. So I was able to, there's a whole bunch of events. I was able to go to, like, I think I went to Tashud. Am I pronouncing that right? The night prayers.
Oh, yeah, okay, the tahajjud. Yeah, you can say tahajjud. Yeah.
I only went to 2, but that's
Tarawih.
mostly because
Tarawih. My bad.
Oh, Tarawih. Yeah. I only went to 2, unfortunately, but that's because I worked nights. But other than that, like, alhamdulillah, it was amazing. I was able to, like, I was praying all day because I'd rapidly learned how to pray after converting. Like, that was my goal, is that I wanted to pray 5 times a day during Ramadan. That was my end goal. And so I got it. But Ramadan, I definitely felt closer to Allah. I learned a lot. I learned about the community. Like, I love Ramadan. I can't wait for the next one.
Yes.
Until I'm able to experience it.
It's amazing because, you know, like you mentioned that no, you don't have that much knowledge and things, and at the same time, I think Allah is just you know, sometimes of course it's very important knowledge in Islam. You know, we have to study, we have to try to understand more, to make sure that we do the right thing at the same time. But the greatest thing is when Allah is guide you directly, you know what I mean, which is part of it if you're a sincere person. And you just said something, you know, I asked you about your experience about Ramadan. The first thing that you tell me is just like I felt closer to Allah. So in the Quran, Allah is mentioning Ramadan and he's saying one thing in particular. for the purpose of doing of Ramadan. Ramadan is supposed to give you to elevate your taqwa, which mean like your God consciousness. So make you even more realize that God is here, and that's exactly what you went through. So once again, it's a beautiful thing because you experience it. It's not only just talk words or just like pure book knowledge. Is something that you experience, which is a reality in Islam. What I would like to know now is just like, so you mentioned before, so you're married and you have like 2 children. Your wife kind of a committed Christian. So how does it work like day to day for you being Muslim now?
Well, actually, she doesn't mind at all. I'm the only, as far as I know, I'm the only Muslim in my family.
Okay.
So like, but they're all super understanding.
Oh, wow.
They understand prayer times. Well, when I say I have to go do my prayer, they're like, okay. And they understand all that. They understand everything. Like even like my mom, when we usually do Sunday dinners. So she'll if she's making like a pork dish, usually she tries to avoid it, but if she can't avoid it, she'll make a separate dish just for me. That's amazing. It's honestly amazing because that was one of the biggest worries is that maybe I was wrong and they like might not be super supportive, but no, it's been a blessing, mashallah.
That's great. Do they ask you a question about the religion?
My sister, one of the first questions she asked me, it was like, so Allah? I was like, what, Amber? And she was just like, it's just, I was like, Allah just means like the one true God. It's like, because she used to be Christian, she doesn't practice anymore. So it's like we still would like, if you were practicing, we'd be worshiping the same God. And that was just one of the funniest questions. That's usually about all they ask. My brother, he works in the prison, so he has some like Muslim prisoners he has to watch over. He asked me a lot of questions during Ramadan. I had an extra translated Quran that I gave him just so he can learn more about it. But other than that, no, they don't ask that many questions.
Okay, that's cool. If I can give you an advice, just like as a brother, it's like pretty much keep doing what you do. Learning as you're gonna do. The more important thing, because like I think for many people, because we go through Islam through different routes and different ways, but the most important thing is to see how a Muslim behave. So Alhamdulillah, Allah made things easy for you, but you never know. Sometimes at some point they can ask you like tough questions. You don't know like what they can be thinking or anything. Always like stay calm, patience. It's all about like what you project, and that's what attract people. But I'm not saying there's a problem. I'm just saying like it's a good advice to have, and that's how many people actually come to Islam. They see someone becoming Muslim, and they observe, okay, what is he going to do? Is he going to change? He's going to be, and most of the time, people become better person, and that's what actually triggered them. Like, how come? Why this person is changing like this? And that's how they look to Islam. So you're actually now kind of a living ad for the deen. So inshallah, make Allah make this easy for you. What do you think? What would you say? Like, besides the fact that now you kind of find your meaning in life, what do you think Islam changed in your day-to-day life?
The biggest thing was my anger. Growing up, I've always had like anger issues. I'm just quick to get angry. I'm generally a very peaceful person though, so that didn't really change. But like if I got mad, usually I'm able to get irritated pretty fast. But Islam was really able to help me tame that. Like if I'm angry, one of the advice I got was go do wudu. If I get a bit irritated, I'd sit down. Like change your position is one of the things that I know the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was advised, was like just change where you're at or do wudu. So that really helped me a lot.
Can you define what wudu is for the listeners that would not know?
It's like a ritual cleansing. So it's to get pure for prayer. And then there's another separate, you have to do a yusul for other things. That's more so like you shower. This is more so you can go to your bathroom, you wash your face, you gargle water 3 times, you take water in through your nose, you go behind the ears, over your head, up to the forearms, and then feet up to the ankles. And that's the process of wudu. And then you can pray, touch the Quran. But usually like doing that process, it really helps you calm down because you're taqwa, you're more God conscious in that sense.
Absolutely.
And then another thing, my family, we were big drinkers. Like on my wife's side, my mom's side, my dad's side, it's just alcohol was always in our family. And mashallah, I cut that off right away. Like that was the easiest thing I ever done. And that was, so like the health benefits, like I'm so much healthier. Like my body feels great, feels detoxified. I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm much more patient now. Very, very patient now. I was a 7th-month-old baby, so that's mashallah, I needed that.
Would you say that? Did you say like so not did you say, but did you see anyone around you in your close family, your wife, your children, notice the change? Did someone say anything to you, like say, "Oh, I've seen this and that"?
My wife did. Like,
oh, really?
2 weeks after I converted, yeah, she was like, "You're much calmer now."
Oh wow!
It was a blessing, honestly. Like, because I don't like being angry, but it's I don't know. It's something I couldn't really control, but now alhamdulillah, I'm able to
control. Yeah, no, I can understand. I can relate to this. And when you talk about like what you went through in your childhood, it's probably something there that bottled up and lead you to maybe carry some anger through life. Like I'm not doing like psychoanalysis, but I'm just saying like I'd say I'm a bit fiery person myself, so I can understand a few things. And sometimes sometimes it can be dealt with like by talking and things, but sometimes you just need spiritual blessing. That's the only thing that can directly impact what you have inside. Sometimes you have things inside that talking cannot fix. It's only God's light, God's grace that can just like remove. So, and I've experienced this, so I can kind of relate to this. So you mentioned that you have children. So how old are they?
4 and 7 months.
4 and 7 months. Wow, young. That's great. So did you discuss with your wife in terms of what you want to do with your children in terms of religion, since she's Christian and you're Muslim?
She said it would be okay if I raised them Muslim.
It would be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think we have a few schools out here. There's the one that's like Salam School. It's like a 20-minute drive from where I live. I want to enroll my son there because like not only do they do traditional schooling, he'll learn Arabic. I do believe after school studies they'll learn Quran, learn how to read Quran. And yeah, and I think it's K through 5, so kindergarten through 5th grade, and then I can go up to Milwaukee where they have the high school and middle school, and he'd be able to do that.
That's great. That's it's a very good idea, and it's good that you have this opportunity and that your wife is okay with it. Like, alhamdulillah, it's a blessing. I feel like really Allah is really opening the way for you and makes things easy. It's a beautiful thing to see, to be honest.
No, he really didn't put much obstacles in my way.
No, alhamdulillah, it's great. It's I think it's Allah, knows ourselves better than we know ourselves. So he knows what we need at any point in time. Life, there's always going to be trial, but in certain situation, in your situation, for example, he decided to give you like a kickstart. So I'm going to make this easy. It's not always the case, and it's not always going to be the case because that's life. But it's always a beautiful thing because you know what's happening pretty much. So I'm very happy for you to be in this situation and it's kind of frame of mind. I wanted to ask you like another question. Sorry, it's just like getting back to me. Oh yeah. So first, what about your pre-existing friends? And did you make new friends through Islam? Like, what happened with this?
My pre-existing friends, I've known
Yeah.
them like the ones I mainly like hang around. They're basically my brothers, so they didn't mind at all. Like they didn't care at all. A lot of my friend group, they were just like, yeah, it's cool. Like you're Muslim, awesome. Like,
Mm,
but I did get a lot of new Muslim friends just from the
mhm,
masjid and like because we have a group called Brotherly, and alhamdulillah, I love these guys. They're awesome. So I hang out with them as much as I'm able to. Just being a
mhm.
working man and a father, it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
get free time.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm free, I try my best to go hang with them because every time I learn something, and then just being around like other Muslims, it just helps me. It helps. I see like, and I try to follow the best example possible. But I see how another Muslim acts, what to do, what not to do, what they like, just everything. Their frame of mind, just learning how they live was just different for me because again, I grew up not Muslim, so it had definitely helped. I can say that.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing. It's important to. It's a great way to learn. The same way that you can be a source of guidance for your direct family, they can be a source of guidance for you if they are like practicing Islam correctly in the right way. So it's important to to have brothers around you that so just to keep the sense of belonging, because Islam is about community. It's a living thing. It's not only, I was saying, like in books, it has to be lived. And that's why, there's this Juma prayer, this 5-time prayer, all of this. It's because your heart needs to live again and again and again. And seeing brothers is there's so many beautiful hadiths which are saying from the prophets about the benefits of being community. And one of them that I remember is just like when two brothers meet, it's probably not from the Prophet ﷺ. I'm not too sure. I don't want to say something. So it's either a saying from like a personality in Islam or from the Prophet. So I'm not too sure. But it says that like when two Muslims meet each other, it's just like two hands washing each other, just like you're washed from your sins. Pretty much everything is going away, because this interaction, the fact that you guys meet from the sake of Allah, create love, and Allah is happy, and through this is just forgiving your sins. So yeah, there's something that's happening when you meet your brother all the time. So
Yeah, I can say it's always great whenever I see them. Like it's like it's just my heart's full of love whenever I see them. It's like I've known these guys my whole life, but I haven't. But it feels like I have. So I can definitely say that. Um, One thing I say, going back on the question you asked me, the one thing that I had to kind of get used to, or maybe just like step away from, is like my friends. They're in their early 20s and they're non-Muslim, so they drink a lot.
mhm.
We had a trip in Chicago, and they wanted me to go with them. And I was like, "You guys know I don't drink." They're like, "Yeah, you don't have to drink. You can just get a cup of water." So like I did. That's what I did. I just got a cup of water.
Mhm.
But I can say like that's something I want to distance myself from, because it's just being around drunk people while sober is just really uncomfortable. And
That's
that's the one thing like I wish they understood a bit more, was that like
That was the yeah. No, I understand. It's that was the purpose of my question, pretty much, because I know many Muslims that reverted to Islam. I did like many interviews, and there's some commonalities there, and sometimes it's a very smooth process for people going to Islam, into keeping them friend and integrating their new lifestyle into the old friendship. Sometimes it's not, because there's challenges that cannot be overcome. So that's why I was asking you this question, and it makes perfect sense. I think that when you feel like it's not a good environment for you, it's probably best to try to stick to on what you only feel it's good for your own soul, especially since you're still young in the deen. But it's a common thing for all of us. It can be Muslim for 20, 15 years. It's the environment is very important. So if you feel in your heart it's not a good environment, yeah, it's probably best for you to stay with your family, or just to see brothers that are in the deen. It's going to be more profitable for you. So
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, alhamdulillah, they didn't try and pressure me. No one really did. But like it was I don't know. It wasn't my vibe anymore. Like, cause I quit cold turkey. I was just like, yeah, I'm done drinking.
Mhm.
Allah says haram. I'm done. Like, I don't need it anymore.
Mhm.
That's
No,
just how I
that's
went
fair.
about it.
That's fair enough. Um, so like in Islam, there's many things that you can learn. There's always learning. Doesn't matter like how long you've been Muslim. Like it's like an ocean, pretty much. Um, is there something that you are focusing on right now? Do you have a plan? Do you have a goal? Okay, I need to get to learn this, then I will learn that. Do you have like a learning plan about things about
Um,
Islam?
I don't I don't have a set plan, but the one thing I do want to learn more is the hadith. Hadith is something I haven't dived into yet because I'm
Mm-hmm.
still reading translated Quran because I still can't I don't know the Arabic letters. I did get a Arabic Quran
Mm-hmm.
just for the sake that one day I will learn, and inshallah it'll be easy,
Mm-hmm.
or at least easy enough, easy-ish, because
Can
I'm kind of nervous about that.
No, it's like everything is a process, but everything is easy, and you don't go from step 1 to step 20. Just like you went to Islam, it's just like a gradual, natural, and organic process, and that's the way it's going to be. So um, it's going to appear a bit challenging, but everybody went there. So you learn little by little, and you get to where you need to get. So if I can advise you something, just like only me, in terms of hadith, what I could probably advise you, I think like in the community, we can all agree that there is one great imam called Imam al-Nawawi. And this imam has done like two, because there's many kind of hadith collection, right? You have like, for example, Bukhari, I think Ibn Majah, Abu Dawud. There's many collection. It's like a huge books, many hadiths. So what Imam Nawawi did, he did like 40 hadiths, just only 40. He compiled 40 hadiths that he thought was if you just were to only learn 40, that would be the 40 you would need to learn. So I would probably advise you to find this. You can find this everywhere. You go on Google, you type 40 hadiths, Nawawi, or you can ask me on the group, and I can find your resources. That would be a great introduction, to maybe hadith, and maybe the more important hadith maybe to know at the beginning. And then he has another book, so in Arabic, it's called Riyad al-Salihin. And I know the translation in French, but I think in English would be like the Garden of the Virtuous. But anyway, I can still find you a resource for that. But yeah, I would probably advise you these two books, because they're probably the most easiest when you start.
I appreciate that because it is kind of intimidating. I did know about uh Bukhari, and then like I don't know if name the other ones, but I recognize those names from some of the YouTube videos I've watched, like that tiptoed into it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it just because all the YouTube videos are like they'll reference hadith, and it just sounds so deep and like knowledge I want.
yeah.
So
It is. As I say, like Islam is an ocean. God has a knowledge that is all compassing. You know what I mean? His knowledge is just like on another level that we can never even dream of even attaining, because it's God. Nothing is like Him. So our job is our job is not to reach a certain point and to be there. Our job is to be on the path. That's what's important, because you're not in control of how you gonna succeed, or are you gonna like reach the milestone. The only control that you have is to just be on the way there, and that's what God is expecting from us. Is just to try, and trying is the success. And then to God belong, the fact that you're going to succeed or not, because He's the one deciding that you're going to reach this and that. But it's all about the efforts, and trying to do something. Some people decide like, my thing is going to be the tajweed. That's what I want to start with, which is how to really recite the Quran. Some people, it's Arabic, they focus on Arabic, which is my case personally. Some people, they want to read hadith. Another good advice that I could give you is just like at the beginning, the most important thing, I think, and it doesn't mean that you have to cut anything else that you're already doing. But the most important thing at the beginning is to learn the basics. like that you already do? How do you do wudu, the the ritual purification, how to pray, and basics rule of, eating, drinking, the etiquette of all these things. And you build up on this because this is the fundamental things. And I'm not saying this for you particularly. I'm saying for anybody, listening. Some people, sometimes they're in the process of becoming Muslim and they're intimidated. They're not too sure. So, that's how you go about things. You learn like fundamental things, because if you try to look into something very specific, it's a niche, but you don't even have the basics, what you're doing is just a bit pointless. So, you built on the foundation. Sorry, I talk a lot.
No, you're fine. That is the one thing I have been focusing on. I can't say for sure was basics, because there's a lot. Like there's not a lot, but there's enough that it's different from the way I grew up and the way like we had like non-Muslims do things. So I just had to learn what's haram, what's halal, what's frowned upon, what's not frowned upon. Like wudu, certain etiquettes. Like just like even like saying assalamu alaikum, like when you're going to like the masjid, or like going to the masjid, and then the prayer you do when you're just visiting the masjid. Like that's something I didn't know about. I asked that question to one of the brothers. I was like, I see all these people entering the masjid, but it's not prayer time, but they're praying. Like, why was that? And it was explained to me that I think it was like, not sure if I'm wording it, like it was like bless or like welcoming the masjid. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah. The two rakat to pay homage to the masjid, or I know what you mean. It's a sunnah prayer, pretty much. All of this is sunnah prayers, which mean tradition. Like we follow the tradition. You have things that are mandatory, like that you have to do, and the things that are recommended is very good. And all of this would fall under sunnah prayers. And there's two rakah, which is like 2 units of prayers that people need to do when they enter the masjid. Like it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, it definitely feels really nice entering the masjid, doing a 2 rakahs, and then you're just heading out and then mingling with the brothers, because that's usually like we'll have events at the masjid. So it definitely feels good. I can tell you that one.
It's a great thing. There's so many things, man. It's just like the way I see it. Knowledge in Islam is like the sun and its rays. Like there's one sun, which I would say it's just an image, of course. Like you can think about God, like just like the sun, and then there is sun rays, but each sun rays points to God. So whatever you choose to attach yourself to will link to God, because it's all about your intention and the fact that you have a connection with God. So inshallah, you're gonna get through there, because we all did, and it's a beautiful. Just enjoy the journey. You know what I mean? It's whatever you do, it's a great thing, man. I wanted to know, like, since you have like to pray 5 times a day, and you told me like you have work, like, so you work at night. What kind of timing do you have at work?
So I work from 8 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. So we're in my time zone. Actually, like since it's become summer, Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr, they all fall under my work schedule. So I'll pray. I'll get to work. Since I work in the forklift, I do replenishment, so I fill up slots. I'll do that for about I want to say prayer time is 8:33 now. Maghrib is, yes. So I'll do that till about 8:30, and then I'll go drive my machine, park it, do my prayer, get back on and go do it, and then go back to work until Isha. And then I am a little worried about it. Like I got approval from my HR for my prayer times, but I am worried that like they're starting to crack down on downtime, which is time not working. And I'm worried that they're going to look at my prayer times, and I'm going to get like a punishment for it. But I know I'm protected over here in the US, but I don't know. Yeah, it's usually how it works. So I rattled on there.
I think it's I'm just, of course, I'm not directly in your situation in America and all of this, but I think it should be fine, because praying at the end of the day, praying is what, like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and worse come to worse, if it's really an issue, you say, okay, I'll make the time back. If it's 5-10 minutes, make the time back. But I trust that Allah is going to make things easy for you. When you sacrifice things for the sake of Allah, it's always is giving you something more. So I understand, like, you're thinking about it, but don't stress. Allah is going to make it easy for you the same way He made everything else easy for you. You were not even thinking about things. He already had a plan for you. So don't worry about it. Anything is going to be fine. You already got approval from your HR. It's going to be fine, man. Like, you're not the only one in the situation. And yeah, alhamdulillah, it's going to be definitely fine.
Yeah.
So, and as you know, like you're not by yourself, like whether you need advice, whether you need guidance or anything, you have your friend, you have the brother that you see, you have the group Unto Islam, we're here for you to help in any situation and to advise. So I wanted to know, is there anything that's you wanted to add, anything else you wanted to say about your experience, about Islam, or anything that you have to say that you're thinking of that I didn't ask the question?
There's one thing I do want to say. I'm still
Sure.
I'm still working on myself, like with Islam. It's like, and it's really bad. Sometimes I will miss like prayers, like I'll oversleep or something like that. And I feel horrible doing it, but I just really want to put it out there that I'm 3 months in and I'm still not perfect. So if you're thinking of becoming Muslim, making the convert, you're not expected to be perfect right away. I mean, it is obligatory. Like, don't get me wrong, don't just miss prayers. But the most important thing about it, from what I've learned, is that if it happens, as long as you feel bad and you make the intention to not do it again, Allah won't be angry. Like, I'm not going to say, I can't put that in His mouth, but that's what I've read and been told, that He won't fault you too much for it.
That's beautiful, because that was actually my last question. That's where I usually conclude the podcast with asking you, like, do you have any advice for new revert? And I think you kind of answered the question, but if you have anything else to add for somebody that, would be thinking of reverting to Islam and is not too sure, like, please, if you have any advice, anything else to add, you can go.
I think the biggest thing for me was I felt the most connection or the most pull to Islam when I was reading Quran. Like, Quran that is the word of Allah. I don't care what any Islam haters say. The Quran is the word of Allah. So if you read it and you truly want to get closer to Allah or learn Allah or become closer to Allah, the Quran I do believe is where one should try and start if they're wanting to learn more about Islam, because it'll pull you in if you let it, unless you're actively trying not to. If you go with an open heart and open mind, the Quran will pull you in. I can promise you that, because the Quran, my favorite thing to do still is read Quran.
Wow, that's very true and wise words to end this podcast. So thanks for this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. So listeners, that was our episode for today. If you want more information, you can go onto in our website, which is ontoislam.com. If you're interested and you have any question or even any critiques, we're open to anything. Thanks for everybody, for all the listeners that have listened to this episode. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Devan, for your time and your availability. I wish to you and to all the listeners a very blessed day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.